On the court, all-stars make assists look easy. Behind the back, no look, or off the backboard, they're dropping dimes non-stop. That's how we feel about coverage and savings. Combine your home and auto with State Farm and start your own assist highlight reel. After all, even all-stars need an assist. Call agent Paul Dawning for help combining your home and auto and enjoy the savings. Dial 219-884-6947 or visit www.pauldawning.com. That's PAULDAWNING.com. Good afternoon, and welcome to the 800 Credit Score Man Show. I am your host, Kevin King. He is I, and I am him, the 800 Credit Score Man himself. And again, thank each and every one of you for coming in and listening to the show. I really do appreciate it. Hey, on last week's show, I did the credit quiz, and I gave you guys that pop quiz. I want to know how you did, so please continue to contact me. Send me your emails at 800creditscoreman@gmail.com. Let me know how you did on the credit score, the credit quiz from last week. I got some responses. Some people did really well. A couple people got like 100% when they figured it out. And some people said they had a little work to do, but they learned something in the process. So I appreciate you guys contacting me. And here's what I'm going to do. So the questions from the show, even though you can always go back and listen to it, you can go back and listen to the questions and the answers. I'm going to post those questions somewhere. So if you're on Facebook, then you go to 800 Credit Score Man Facebook page, and you'll be able to see it there. Please like my page while you're there as well. You'll be able to see it there. Join the group Credit Score Comeback. I'm absolutely going to post it there. They get pretty much everything first, so join that group, Credit Score Comeback, and you'll get to talk about credit as much as you want throughout the week in that group. And then, of course, you can follow me on Twitter, and that's at Credit Score _ on Twitter, as well as you can find me on Instagram as the 800 Credit Score Man, as well as Tumblr. So what in the world are we going to talk about today? We did the quiz last week, so what are we going to get into today? So we might be able to get into a couple of different subjects today, but the main portion of the show, I want to tell you a little bit first. I might give you a tip toward the end of the show about establishing some credit if you don't have any at all, and one way that you can do that. But if we don't get to that portion, the bulk of the show really is going to be about what really happens when you have a negative hit your credit report. Like physically, like what happens? Like I've talked in the past saying that your credit score could drop, from this point to this point if you have a late payment or what have you. Well, I found some research on myfico.com, so I just didn't pull it out of the air. You too can go to www.myfico.com and you can check out some of the same information that I found. And so there, they gave me some information about if your credit score is this number and this particular thing happens to your credit report. So we're going to get into that today and detail that today on the 800 Credit Score Man Show. And so you know how we got to do it. I've got to give out some shout outs. So at the top of the show, I got to say today is Saturday. Today is Jolie Dalton's birthday. So she celebrates a birthday today. So happy birthday to you, Jolie. I also want to give out a wedding anniversary. Somebody celebrated a wedding anniversary earlier in the week, and that's Myron and Gwendolyn Hardiman. 48 years going strong. So happy anniversary to you. Right behind you, almost, sorta, they might get there one of these days if they live long enough. Preston and Tanya Thornton, 19 years. So they've celebrated 19 years this week. And then I also got to give a shout out to my cousin. So Cleveland and Lisa King celebrated 9 years of wedding bliss. So I want to say happy anniversary to all of you guys and happy birthday to you, Jolie Dalton, as well. All right, so let's get into what I was telling you about today. So what happens when a negative actually hits your credit report? Like how many points are you actually going to lose? Like, are you like stressing yourself about should I actually make this payment? Will it really make a big difference? If I don't make this payment, maybe I'll lose only 5 or 6 points and I can recover that, or what happens? So we're going to get into that today, and I'm going to give you some concrete proof of what happens when you have a negative on your credit report. So I talked about them in general terms before. I've told you I've had a client that missed one payment on his car note, never missed a payment before. Nothing on his credit report says that he's missed any payments at all, and he dropped 53 points, maybe it was 43 points, by having that one miss on his credit report. So I'm going to tell you what they say at myfico.com. All right, so let's get right into it. So we're going to talk about, and actually, while I'm here, I might as well tell you too, something that you may notice when we go through these scenarios. The person that has the higher credit score, they are losing more points than the person with the lower credit score. So it seems like it's a little backwards. Seems like the person with the higher credit score should get some quote unquote credit, or they should get a little bit of a bump than the other person that has a lower score or starts out with a lower score already, but that's not the case. So it must be true, at least when it comes to the credit scoring system, that the bigger they come, the harder they fall. Or for us, it's going to be the higher the score, the bigger they fall. And so I played, and to give you another one, I played baseball, and we always said the harder they throw, the farther they go. So all of my baseball players out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. All right, so let's get into this. So person A, let's give person A a name so we don't get confused. So Michael, we're going to give person A the name Michael. He has a 680 credit score. That puts him in the fair range, right? If you've been listening to the credit score, the 800 Credit Score Man show, you know that 680 puts this person in the fair range. So not necessarily bad credit at all, especially if you think about the fact that the 673 is the average credit score in America. So he's a little above average, right? And person B. So person B, let's give person B a name, and we're going to call person B Nicole. So Nicole has a 780. So Michael has a 680. You guys got to stay with me. And Nicole has a 780. All right. So 780, that puts her in excellent. So this person has excellent credit. And let's see what happens to them if they have negatives hit their credit report. So the first one, let's talk about, and I've said this to you before, about your debt utilization. So let's talk about credit cards. So if Michael, with his 680 credit score, maxes out a credit card, he's going to get hit with a negative. So his score is going to drop 10 to 30 points. So you may think, that's cool. I can deal with that. That might be fair. Might drop 10 points if I max it out. The 800 Credit Score Man has told me I need to be at 30% or lower. But if I'm at 100%, 10 to 30 points might be all right. But he gets hit 30 points. We're going to take worst case scenario. So he's going to get hit by 30 points if he maxes out one of his credit cards. So he goes from a 680 and he takes those 30 points off. Now he's at a 650. And then, and this is a reason that all of you guys out there that are thinking, like, why hasn't my credit score gone up? I'm paying on time and all of these things. If you max out your credit cards, if you have too much credit card debt, or they're just stagnant and they're staying basically at the same because you're paying the minimums every month, that's why your credit score isn't moving. So decrease your debt, especially your credit card debt, and watch your credit score go up. All right, so then what happens to Nicole? So Nicole has a 780, right? So she's in the excellent range. Obviously, she's taking care of all of her debts, in the past. What happens if she maxes out a credit card? If Nicole at a 780 maxes out her credit card, she can get hit anywhere from 25 to 45 points. 45 points just for maxing out your credit card. That's ridiculous as far as I'm concerned. That's just way too many points to get deducted just because you used a little bit more of your debt. But 45 points is the hit that she can take just for maxing out her credit cards. So you thought it was bad before when you just, when you just missed the payment or what have you. But even just using your cards to the max can get you dinged up to 45 points. So she went from having excellent credit already to having just good credit. So a lot of us are striving for that, like it's striving for it at 735. That'll put her at a 735. Are striving for that number, but this young lady was already at a 780. So now she's in a good credit category in a blink of an eye. I mean, it really happened quickly because all she did was go out and use her credit cards. Now, here's something that especially if you're a person like Nicole with a very good or an excellent credit score, if you somebody like that and you need to use or max out a credit card, I would suggest that you give your credit card company a call. If you've got a 680, you call them up and say, "Hey, I would like an increase on my limits." So I'm not saying you get the increase so you can actually use additional money, but at least you won't show that you're maxed out on a card. So for example, in this example, let's say Nicole had a $10,000 limit. She called up her credit card company and said, "Hey, I'd like an increase." Typically, you don't have to ask. They don't ask you how much you want, especially if you have a good credit score. They'll just give you as much as they can. So say they increased her from 10,000 to 15,000. Now before, what she would have done is charge up to the 10,000 that she had before because she had this purchase that she just had to make. Whatever happened, she just had to make that purchase. Now she can still make that purchase and she'll be at like 10 grand and she'll have a credit limit of $15,000. She's not maxed out. She won't get dinged these 45 points that we're seeing here. Does that make sense to you guys? I hope it does. All right. So then let's see what else happened. This is very, very common. Another common occurrence that happens. And again, I talk about this all the time as well. 30 days late. Whatever you do, don't be 30 days late. I tell you guys time and time again, just don't be 30 days late. If you got to be late, be 25 days late. But don't be 30 days late. If you missed a payment, you totally forgot it was due on the 8th, it's now the 15th, and you're thinking, "Oh my God, I missed that payment." Well, no big deal. I'll just pay it when the next bill comes. Don't do that. When you realize that you actually missed the payment, go ahead and make that payment right then and right there. Because unfortunately, what could happen is that next bill comes, say it's some weird month, from February to March or something, and it may appear that you're more than 30 days late when you're actually not when you make that next payment. Also, what could happen, you get that bill in the mail, you don't make that previous payment that you missed, all you do is do the minimum there, they may also count that against you. In addition to the fact that you had a late payment, and say you didn't make the late payment on top of that, even though they calculate it all and they'll put it on your bill, no problem, of course. They'll put it on your bill. You don't necessarily have to pay that right then, right there. You still need to do that just to protect yourself and make sure that you're not 30 days late. All right. So let's get back to the whole 30-day. Let's get back to the whole 30-day late thing. So if you're 30 days late, what's going to happen to your credit score? So if you're Michael and you have a 680, because we're actually taking these individually. So Michael nor excuse me. So Michael nor Nicole first came off the boat and they maxed out the credit cards. That's not what happened. And then on top of that, they were 30 days late. We're taking these things individually. So Michael has a 680, and now Michael has missed a payment, and he's 30 days late. What's going to happen to him and his credit score? His credit score will drop anywhere between 60 and 80 points. 60 and 80 points just for being 30 days late. Now, we said that we were going to take the worst case scenario. So he went again from a 680 to a 600 just because he had one 30-day late. He could have been building his credit and been pretty good for 9 months, a year, 15 months. And this one 30-day late is going to knock him down 80 points. And it probably took him 6-9 months to get 80 points, especially if he's not listening to the 800 Credit Score Man show or he's not one of my clients. So he's dropped by 80 points just for being 30 days late. So again, don't be 30 days late. That's the best advice I can give you in that regard. So then, all right, he takes an 80-point hit. So what's going to happen to Nicole, who has a 780 score? What's going to happen to her? Nicole's score goes to between 670 and 690. So she went from being